What's up, everybody? Well, I got a little bit different PC video for you guys today. Today, we're going to try to make something out of this Alienware. Now, why are we doing that? Well, real quick, I figured I'd explain what happened. I don't want to spend 20 minutes explaining, but we'll just do the short version. I was setting up my $800 PS5 Pro similar PC because I was excited to try to get a shot on it because we just got a new 4K screen for it, so we could do 1080, 1440, and 4K on it. And I was just hooking up, the keyboard, the mouse, the monitor, and all that stuff to it. And then all of a sudden, I hear click. I'm like, oh, what the hell? What's the Alienware doing? Because it makes a big click noise whenever it shuts off or restarts. And I thought, oh, well, maybe it's just doing a Windows update or something like that. We didn't pay it too much mind. But then I noticed there was no screen. So I was like, oh, that's strange. But then I finished setting up, just was about ready to hook the cords up to it, and it's like, oh, well, we do have a screen, but now it's the recovery screen. Why are we in a recovery screen? And then no matter what I did, I couldn't get past that until I took out the capture card. So I figured, oh, the Avro Media capture card died. Yeah, it's way cheaper than the Elgato, so okay, you get what you pay for, no big deal. But nope, looks like it's probably the port on the motherboard that died, because I put a new one in, and I got no picture either. And I could only get GPU picture on my monitor with no capture card in that other slot. So I was like, okay, well, I guess we can't use this as a capture computer. That's kind of shitty. No big deal. Thought we could at least use it as a PC, but nope. I couldn't get it to give me picture back like I had every other time by taking the Elgato out. As soon as I took the Elgato out, now I just got nothing. I could hear Windows starting up in the background, but no picture no matter what. So I really doubt the GPU died. Maybe. But if I had a sneaking suspicion, I would say the Alienware motherboard just went, I'm going to start killing PCI slots. Or maybe it did something stupid where it thought the Elgato was a GPU for some stupid reason, and now it's trying to output video through that even though it can't because it just doesn't have the capability. But either way, I sat there and I tried. I took the CMOS battery out, let it sit there for like a whole day, all that shit. I can't get it to give me a picture. So I don't know, maybe it did kill the GPU and all that shit too. That'd be kind of shitty. Or maybe everything in there is dead. The RAM, the CPU, everything is just toast. But I still heard it going into Windows, so I doubt that. Usually you'll just sit on the BIOS screen if your CPU or RAM is fucked up. It won't even give you a picture sometimes. You'll just get nada. But either way, just wanted to real quickly do an intro and whatnot and tell you what happened. So now what are we going to do? Well, we're going to harvest the CPU, RAM, and GPU out of this thing and basically just leave the SSD and the motherboard that's proprietary and the proprietary PSU and all that stuff in there. We're just going to take the CPU, RAM, and GPU. Obviously, we're going to take the GPU no matter what, but we're also just going to make use of that 5800X and that 32 gigs of DDR4 3200 Kingston Fury RAM. They didn't give you some crappy, Kingston, like, bare bones with no heat shields or anything. Not like the heat shield really does anything at the end of the day. It just makes it look nicer. But anyway, so we're going to gank all that, and I bought some new components to replace it all. So why don't we go have a really quick look at all that? Then we'll tear down that Alienware case. I mean, I'll probably just do that off camera because it's probably going to be a pain in the ass. Anytime I want to get you guys footage of me doing something, all I usually can get is my hands in the way, my arm in the way. And I'm like, that looks like shit. I'm not even going to include that, So why don't we quickly go look at all of our new components. So first thing we got here is a Asus TUF Gaming X570 Plus Wi-Fi motherboard. Got this for 74 bucks. Doesn't even come with a heat shield or anything, but I don't care. I didn't need it. No one's going to see that. It's all going to be pointed at the back. Out of sight, out of mind, as they say. And we've got everything else we need. We've got ourselves an M.2 slot. We got ourselves a lot more ports now. So even if one of these is dead, hopefully, we've got enough to make use of our capture card. All we need is GPU and capture card. I don't have anything else. We've got 4 slots for all 4 slots of our RAM that we've got in that Alienware. We've got a CPU socket that should take that CPU as long as the people upgraded the BIOS on this thing. If not, I'm going to have to take another day or two and order a cheap Zen 2, what is that, quad core, the 1400 or whatever. I think it was like a quad core with hyper-threading, kind of to go against the 7700K. 700K still kick that thing's butt. But this other thing was like 90 bucks or something like that. So I'll just get one of those to do the BIOS update then. So what else did we get? So for storage, I went and got whatever this FIK Watt FN995 PCI 4.0 drive because it was like not completely terrible. Actually had a decent warranty, and if people warranty something, they usually stand behind it because if it was going to die after a week, they'd be doing so many warranties they'd go out of business. So figured, hey, get a 2 terabyte PCI 4, that's more than fast enough. You do not need 5, and the thing don't even support PCI 5 anyway, so you'd be wasting your money. Unless you found a PCI 5 on sale that was cheaper than this for some odd reason, then go for it. It'll run at 4 speeds, or 3 speeds. They're all backwards compatible. So, there we go. We got 2 terabytes of storage now with 5 years warranty. Though, truth be told, I'm sure that PC will be torn apart and outdated and whatnot in 5 years, but who knows? We'll see. Now, what else did we get? So now, for a PSU, we went with this Montech Beta 2, 750 watt. I was thinking about just getting the 650 because I figured that'd be plenty. But then I was like, yeah, let's get this one. It's like $10 more, and you get a little bit of some upgrading headroom if you wanted to put a little bit more beefy GPU in there. I mean, CPU-wise, yeah, if you wanted to put one of those 16 cores in there, but me, if I'm just going to do gaming on it, I'd go upgrade to that 5700X3D or 5800X3D if I was going to put any other CPU in this thing. But it's unfortunately not, what do you call it? It doesn't have any take-offable little wires. What the heck do they call it? Modular. It's not fully modular. It's not modular at all, in fact. That's how they make it so cheap. But I'm just going to hide all the access cables in the other cubbyhole of the big-ass case I got. And I figured 750 gold was plenty. And this, too, has a 5-year warranty. So I figured, well, it's probably not going to instantly explode and grenade my PC. And then I figured 1,000, like the Alienware's power supply, was way too much. That was way overkill. It never even turned its fan on, unless the fan was broken. I just figured it never used enough power to warrant getting hot enough to use it. Anyway, though, what else did we get? So, now for cooling, I figured, well, we might as well give it a much better cooler. It was overheating the hell out of itself with that poor little 120 all-in-one with like basically a server fan attached to it. And speed can only too much. You could put a fan that could spin so fast it would almost take the radiator blades off, and it still can only cool so well with that small amount of radiator surface area. So I figured, let's give that 5800X what it deserves and go a little overkill. A 240 would have been plenty, or a big old air cooler would have been plenty. But I figured, let's go fucking balls to the wall and get it a 360 so it'll just chill. It'll probably max out at like 60-something or 70-something now in games. Maybe even less. And be very quiet at the same time, all while looking quite nice. And this was $52. So I was like, might as well. It was right around the same price as some of the big tower air coolers I was looking at. I mean, there were like some nice $20 ones like I got for my, that 10400F. But I figured, let's go with a bit nicer cooler than that too. All right, let's go check out a few more components that we required and got. So I figured since we're making a whole new computer, we might as well upgrade from that old-ass Razer keyboard and that cheap Razer mouse and get it a little bit nicer components now that we're making it a little bit nicer of a computer. Before I was just trying to make it as cheap as possible. Now I'm just trying to make it nice while still not spinning an arm and a leg. So we got this nice keyboard from Attack Shark. I can't remember the exact name of it. I think it says on the bottom, maybe. Yes, it's a model R68HE. I knew it had to say that. I've never seen anything that doesn't say what it is somewhere, even in small print. But I'm going for like a carbon fiber kind of look for the peripherals. But now, let's also go take a look at the mouse, shall we? All right, now for mouse, they even gave you this really cool little case. But here is the mouse we're going to go with. Again, carbon fiber. It's somewhat light, but not as light as like the lightest mice. But very, very nice mouse. Feels really, really good to use. And this thing is a I'm going to butcher this. Ewienden Z7? I'll put the name in the description. I butcher Japanese and any foreign name. Hell, I can barely speak English sometimes. But there's our mouse. So now why don't we go take a look at the, biggest thing, the case. What case to decide to go with? That is what you're going to be looking at most of the time after all. I think I did a pretty cool job picking it out, but you guys can be the judge of that. Let's go see. Alrighty, and here is the case in all of its glory. Now, unfortunately, it does feel a little cheap, but it was 89 bucks. It comes with 8 fans and some pretty cool glass. I think it's made to look like that Leon Lee case. Fuck, what is it called? I can't remember its exact model number, but there's a Leon Lee case that kind of started this whole, front side, all glass on one side case. So I feel like that should be more than enough cooling. Even if those fans kind of suck and are like an anemic mouse coughing on you, it should be more than enough airflow for a computer like this. We're not putting a 5090 in it or anything like that. We're just putting like a 230 watt GPU, something like that. I think that's what the RX 9070 is. But either way, that is the case. Let's have a little quick look around. I had to take you guys all off of the, whatchamacallits. Oh, and it's an HYXN. I don't remember the actual model number, but we've got our USB-C on the front there, USB-A. We got ourselves our little front audio I announced never use, and then of course our power button. And I bet you that little light there is a hard drive activity light. I'm almost positive. Or maybe that's the power light. And then on this side, we just have nothing but mesh ventilation. And then that's probably where I'm going to hide all the wires and stuff. But since it's mesh, it's harder to see. Then on the top, you've got yourself room for a 360 all-in-one or something like that, or radiator. And then it's got some space back here for your PSU. you've got 2 fans in the back, 2 120s, plenty of room, a little extra ventilation, and that's pretty much that. Again, it feels a little bit light compared to some of those other cases. Like, I can literally lift it up effortlessly just with my pinky. So, it's not super heavy duty. Like a Leon Lee case, I wouldn't be able to do that, no way. And they did a pretty good job getting here. It's got like a little dent that I can see up here, but little shit I don't care about. As long as the glass wasn't shattered in a million pieces, I was gonna just keep it. One of the fans scared me, that fan right here. This one was just lying like in there and it was making a bunch of rattling noises. Luckily, these fans are on like a weird little peg where you can just rip them right off, and supposedly they'll still work according to the internet. So we'll see. If that one fan don't spin, we know why. But all right, I think it's about time we start harvesting the organs, as it were, from the Alienware. I'll probably just, like I said earlier in the video, I think I'll just not record that, because all you're gonna see is my arms and my elbows and all that shit getting in the way, I bet you. Let's just put you guys back in your little holder before I accidentally drop you and lose a fucking like nearly $4,000 camera. So, get this shit looking back where it was too. But yeah, like I'm saying, like most of the time it would just be like this. And I don't think that's a very interesting video, just looking at my back and my armpits and shit. Nobody wants to see all that. I mean, maybe some people do, but most people probably don't. So I feel like I'll just do that off camera real quick, and then I'll just start doing what I usually do. We'll do little snap-ins, little checkups, like, hey, here's how we're doing. We got this much in, so on and so forth. Rather than me just pointing the camera for 50 minutes to an hour, just building the whole thing from scratch. Everybody's seen someone build a computer. It's not super interesting, probably, for most people. Although if anybody ever wants me to do that, I sure can. I just figure, why torture you guys with that? Heck, I'm already probably talking your ears off. Why don't we go ahead, shut the hell up, and go get started? Well, like I promised you guys, would pop in periodically just to see how we're doing. So far, we've harvested the GPU. Obviously, we want to get that behemoth thing out of there before we even start working on anything else. I harvested the RAM already, undid this, and then I was like, wow, I think I figured out, well, not only is it a 120, so that's not going to get you good cooling, but this shit looks drier than the Savannah Desert. It's actually not that bad. A little bit actually came off. I figured not a thing would come off, but not too bad. I figured dry as could be, but I think our main problem was it was a 120 trying to cool off a way too powerful CPU. These things are only good for like a 10400F. Those things would be like, that thing would probably still get pretty warm, but you could put this thing on like a 10400F i5 in a small little, small form factor PC and be fine. It'd still probably get like 65, 70 degrees, but at least it wouldn't throttle. This thing was constantly getting up to like 91 during shader comp. During gameplay, it was still toasty, but it wasn't quite at its limit. But it was pretty damn close, and I don't like that. So anyway, I'm gonna get those cleaned up, and then snatch that thing out of there. Well, we got the CPU all installed, and I was ready to go and put at least the back bracket on for the water cooler and all that, but then I realized, oh, of course, it's one of those ones that doesn't come with a back plate. You have to use the stock AMD one. A lot of things do that. But unfortunately, as you can see, that is what this lacks. It said it came with nothing, and they meant it. I did not notice it did not come with that, and in fact didn't even think about it. So now we have to wait, and I have to go order that backplate off Amazon or eBay or something like that, and wait a couple more days, which sucks. I hate waiting. I was all excited to get this thing all fixed and all, back up and going, and see if it even supports the processor, or if the motherboard's dead or not. We don't even know. They said it was okay, but they can say anything. But whatever, I'll go order one of those up, and then I guess we'll continue the video as soon as it comes in. Sucks, but it is what it is. No reason to get all butthurt about it. People make mistakes. I make them all the time. Well, alright guys, it's another day. Amazon was cool and they delivered my little backplate that we were needing here. So now we can go ahead and actually install these. And I'm glad I actually used the instructions. I was straight up just going to install these on here like usual, going, whatever. But something told me, no, you better read the instructions, because I remember somebody complaining about stripping screws. And why would we be stripping screws? Well, the answer to that is easy. The CPU cooler that I decided to pick comes stock with these Intel brackets, and then you undo them from the actual head where the pump and everything is, and then you attach these AMD ones to it. So I think people were having trouble using the wrong Phillips. You got to use a PH2 for those guys, not a PH1 or 0. If you do that, that's how you're scripting these little screws here. They're just these little tiny cheapo. Let me see if I can't focus in on that. Heck yes I can. Go camera. I had no idea I could get this close to ship. But yeah, you'll strip that if you use the wrong pH. So just use a pH2 and you'll be fine. Oh yeah, autofocus. I love that autofocus button. That autofocus button's awesome. That way I don't have to have autofocus going absolutely retarded, going and making my picture look stupid. But at the same time, I don't have to sit there and constantly hit the little thing that makes the little chirping sound, the thing you would use to actually start, because you can do that too even while it's on. But if you push it too much and now you're not recording anymore, or what if you were trying to focus in before recording, now you push too hard, now you started recording. Kind of annoying. But I'm gonna get this shit installed. I already got one. Let's see if we can get that into the camera shot without ruining anything. We already got one side on, so now I just gotta put the other side on. Easy peasy lemon squeezy. But all right, I'm gonna go ahead and do that. And then I think we're almost ready to get this freaking motherboard installed in the new case already. To be honest, there's not too awful much to do. Building a PC is really just pretty damn easy. It's like building, it's like adult Legos, really. Well, all right, guys, we got the motherboard installed. CPU has obviously been installed, so we are well on our way. And this giant ATX motherboard looks tiny in this big old case. Look at how much extra room we got. So the one thing that happens that I've noticed on a lot of stuff is I'll get a mid-tower case. I'll try to put either a 120 or a 360 up top, but then it's too tall and it starts bashing into this shit, and then it just doesn't work. But case this size, you're golden. As long as you can have room for the son of a bitch. Thing's huge. But all right, let's get that water cooler installed. Not forgetting the thermal paste, of course. Almost done that in the past. We're not gonna do that this time. All right, guys, we've got the CPU cooler installed, and it looks quite nice. Now, I have noticed one sneaking thing that might be an issue. I don't think we're going to have any RGB at first, because I only have a singular 3-pin, and that's what this needs, and it's what this guy needs, and it's what all of these fans all need too. And they all have like an individual thing, and I figured there'd be like a hub or something for it all to hook into. I don't see a hub for all that shit. I figured all the fans and the RGB would just have a big old hub. Nope. For 89 bucks, you got to supply your own hub. So we might just have, whatchamacallit. And even the fans don't have a hub either. So you would need to have 8 different fan spots. So we're not even going to really have very many fans. I'll probably be able to have like these guys for cooling the CPU. And then I'll probably hook these bottom ones in. And then maybe these, because we've got, what is it? We've got these two are going to be used. We've got 2 fan spots up here. Those will be used for the pump and the all-in-one. But then these guys, yeah, I just don't know. I think it'd probably be most beneficial. Maybe put the bottom ones. I'm sure I can bend that one thing. There's a fan thing down here with a little bent thing. I'm sure I can bend that back really easily. Then there's 2 more down here. So it's got a pretty decent amount of fan, but still not 8. And I don't think I have any, what do you call it? Splitters. I'd have to look. Might have to order some. But not a big deal. I'll probably just order one of those hubs that has like fans and 5-volt RGB stuff. Because you can't use the 12. It's got to be the 3-pin one. It can't be the 4. If you do that, it's going to flash and flicker a lot, and then eventually the RGB is going to die. I did that once before too. Not reading the instructions. Like I always say, I mess up all the time. That's why I tell you guys, and then hopefully you guys won't mess up too. Anyway. Let us get the power supply installed next. I do believe that'd probably be a good idea. Well, all right, weird angle, I know, but I just saw something that was so cool, I just had to say something about it. So, usually, before I even hook up a motherboard, I'll sometimes hook up the 8-pin because it's nearly impossible to, slide it through here. But what did this company do? They were badass. They make this little tiny cover that covers this shit up so you can get it in, and then when you're done, you can just come back here unless I broke something. And it looks like you just put this back. Here we go. It snaps back into place, and now look at that. It doesn't look so open and weird anymore. Isn't that cool? I'm sure other cases do that too, but this is the first time I've seen it on one. But as you can also see, we're getting along. We got cooler, RAM, SSD, all the stuff hooked up. Front panel, USB, what have you. There's no USB-C on this motherboard. I kind of didn't notice that. I could fix that by getting a C that runs off one of those slots, but I don't give a shit about that much. As long as I have one USB 3.0, that's all I usually need for putting like a SD card or a USB drive or something into it, Anyway, let's get back into the building. I gotta finish hooking up the power supply. That's what I was doing when I noticed that little feature. We already got the CPU power, we've got the motherboard power, now we just gotta hook in the GPU and hook it up, and I think we're almost ready to go and install us some Windows. I was thinking about doing Bazite again, but I don't know if OBS works well with that. And I'd rather have a good capture computer, so I'm just going to suck it up and use Windows on this one. Well, alright, instead of stopping every 5 milliseconds that I did anything, I figured let's just get this son of a bitch done. So, there it is in all of its glory. Now, does it post? Does it even turn on? I have no idea. Haven't tried that yet. I figured we'd do that all on camera together. So, as per usual, we will do a quick hit of either, well, encouragement or disappointment, whichever it happens to be. We can encourage it to work properly, and then if it doesn't, hey, at least we're slightly stoned, so it won't piss us off as much if it's broken or just doesn't post or something. Because, like I said, one thing I didn't think about was maybe the people with this only ever had like a 3900 or something like that, a 3900X, and then never upgraded to the 5000 series. So, you know, they just never updated the BIOS. So the CPU might not work on here. But I'm hoping, since it was missing its back bracket, somebody was using it for at least a big cooler or a custom loop, which means they probably had the latest and greatest to everything and kept everything up to date. But hey, we're gonna find out. So let's take us that hit that power button, and that's all we can really do. I might have to go open or get a cheap processor to update the BIOS with. That'd be annoying, but hey, we'll see. Well, all right, let's see what happens. Oh, I don't think I always forget to do this, and then I think, oh no! Oh. Well, it's getting power, but it don't power on. Well, that's peculiar. Well, like I said, we might have to tinker around and do some stuff. So, I'm gonna go do that, and hopefully we'll have a working computer. If not, we'll come back for yet another disappointing end to a computer upgrade. Well, all right. We got it to post. Well, not post, but we got it to turn on, but it does not post, and I don't know why. Oh, well, it does have, what do you call it, that little light thing at the top. What does that say? All right, it's giving us a DRAM thing, so it's maybe some of our RAM isn't seated or something like that, so I'm gonna just shut it off. Maybe. Okay, I was gonna say. All right, I gotta fiddle with the RAM a little bit. Maybe the RAM, one of the RAM chips died, and that's what was going on. Usually that doesn't make your picture just go away, so I don't know. But we've got other RAM, we can fiddle with it. I wanted my 32 gigs, but hey, if that Fury is fucked up, I don't really need 32 gigs in a gaming PC or a capture PC. 16 will do just fine. But I'd like to get it to work if I can, you know what I mean? Well, all right, guys. Unfortunately, all we have is a really pretty paperweight at the moment. Until I get a different CPU to upgrade the BIOS, we're dead in the water. At least from the research I can find. Either that, or all the memory slots are just dead, and it can't use RAM, which means I'm sending that right back to the eBay seller, because they said it at least posted, and it is not. So, I'm guessing it's because of my 5800X. It's probably just not supported. I'm hoping. So, we'll try the cheaper thing first. We've got like 30 days to return it to the dude, or like 2 months now. So, shouldn't be an issue if I do have to return the motherboard. But I don't think it's the motherboard. I think it's just unsupported CPU. I just figured somebody would have been on the latest BIOS if they had like a nice board like that. But we'll just go buy a cheap-ass 3000 series or 2000 series CPU just to update the BIOS. But anyway, that is all for the video. At least we got it built. So, one more step in the right direction. It powers on, it runs, it just doesn't have a supported processor, probably. I even got all the fans working. I luckily had some jumper or some things where you can connect 3 fans to a certain thing and what have you. And then I just bridged all of the RGB through one cable, which might be a fire hazard. I guess we'll find out later, won't we? But at least it looks pretty. Either way, that's all for this video. As soon as I get that shit, I will go and plop the new processor back out of there, put the old crappy one in there that lets me update the BIOS. Well, see if we even post at that point. If not, then this motherboard's going right back, and I'm probably just going to go and buy like a new one from somewhere. I just figured, try to save some money, but at the same time, that might have screwed me. Guess we'll find out. Either way, can't do peace out with that hand, so unfortunately, it might be as good as it gets. Hopefully not. I'm stubborn, so I'm going to keep doing my exercise and see if I can't fix it. Well, all right, after waiting another like almost, what is it, a week or so, we have got our processor that should be by default able to run. And then we can use it to update the BIOS. So what do we get? If we can get this thing to focus. You know what? Why don't we just take it out of its thing? As long as we're careful with it, it won't get bent pins. You just have to be careful with these ones, because these ones have pins. And then I guess I can kind of check it out and make sure it's not fucked up, right? Nope, they don't look messed up. Just don't drop it. Then we'll be waiting a long time again. So it is a AMD Ryzen 3 Pro 2200G, if you can't see it. There we go. Hopefully now it'll focus in. I guess I was just getting too close. But anyway, that's the processor we're gonna plop on in there. But in the meantime, we'll just plop that back in its little safety, safetiness. And I gotta unfortunately take that cooler off, which means I'm sure that plate is gonna slide down and it's gonna be annoying. Maybe I can get it to just almost be off on all one and then leave one just barely on there so it'll hold on to it, you know what I mean? And then just kind of slide it to the side. Probably not, but I'm stubborn. I really don't want to lose that plate and have to take the whole thing apart, you know? Either way, I'm gonna go do that and we'll see if it solves the problem. Might just be a dead motherboard or something like that, or some other weird issue, but that was the only thing I could think of. I tried most other things already. Well, all right, we've got the super cheap $25 processor in there, so hopefully now it will post. If not, I might have to do reset the CMOS. But if none of that works, I'm not gonna give up. I'll try going to like my old HP DDR4 RAM and my GT 1030 GPU and all that stuff, putting, you know, just one RAM slot in and all that stuff, see if we can't get it to post. But if that doesn't work, I'm just gonna assume that this motherboard's borked or something, you know? I can't really think of anything else. It would be the only culprit, because this CPU should be supported. It was supported from the beginning. I mean, it was supported, I think, even on most X370 motherboards, let alone 470s and 570s. So that should not be a problem here. But hey, we're gonna find out. So let's go ahead, try to post. But before we do, we'll do what we did last time, because it worked out well. Just take a quick little hit ski. So either it's a nice victory hit, or it's just a hit. Well, at least now we're not gonna get mad, because we're pretty damn baked. All right, let's see what it does. Will it post? It's nice that it just turns on when you want it to, right? Hey, it's doing lights. I think we're going to get somewhere. Maybe. It's doing stuff and things. I wouldn't recommend it. Oh, wait, the screen has got a blue thing on it. So we should have, yes, we have post. So it was just CPU being unsupported. I was getting a little worried, like, oh man, what if it's this, that, and the other thing? But just thought about it logically. So now I'm gonna just go update the BIOS real quick. The literal only reason I have this, 2200G is to get the newest BIOS. So hopefully I will be able to run with that 5800X, because that's definitely going to be a lot better than a 2200G, I can tell you that. This would be fine for like indie games, like really old indie games, and like just an office computer, but it would not work very good with that 9070. But all right, I'm going to go do that off camera, because that's just pretty much boring, clicking on stuff, downloading stuff. And then we'll come on back and I'll install the other CPU and we'll see what happens. And hopefully we will have a working computer after that. Well, all right, we got the 5800 back in there. We got the BIOS all updated. So, and we know it turns on in post. So if it doesn't post now, the only thing we changed was the 5800X. So who knows, maybe that's what was dying in the Alienware. And that's why everything was going wonky. You never know. But if it doesn't work, then we do know. And then I'll just get a different processor. It sucks I still won't be able to get it to work, but at least then I'll know. And this also just goes to show you, sometimes PC building can throw you for a loop. A new builder probably wouldn't even know about that. Hell, I've been doing this for a long ass time and I even forgot about the fact that it might not support my processor. But luckily, that seems to be all it was. But hey, let's make sure for sure. But first, we'll do another little pre-hit before we either win and it works, or we fail and we know it's the processor. So let's take a quick hit ski. And all right, let's just see. Haha, we might just have a dead processor, I think, because it's doing the same thing. And it posted with the other one, so we know it works. So yeah, it must have been the 5800 dying, and then it just completely died on me, and that's why I couldn't get a picture out anymore. Because now it should be working just fine. Well, that is certainly a shame. I was hoping that that was not going to be the case, but it is what it is. Although, real quick, I'm going to go try to just reset the BIOS, because we did have another processor in there. Maybe it just doesn't know what's going on. I doubt it. Usually when I install new processors, it's just, you know, took a couple of seconds to post, and then it would just come up with a screen saying, hey, you got a new processor, hit F1. Just like it did with that 2200G. So alrighty, I guess I'm going to do that real quick. The likelihood of it working is pretty much 0, but I want to try just to be sure, because we already know it posted. So I'm going to go do that real quick, and I guess we'll just have another, like, not wrap up, but just a quick little powwow, and then I'll just have to order a new processor, and then hopefully we'll be in business. I mean, unless this thing just hates 5000 series processors, even with the latest BIOS, that would be pretty weird. But either way, I'm going to go try that real quick, and we'll see what happens. Well, unfortunately, it might not be as simple as the BIOS. It did work with the 2200G, but as I put the old one back in, or the old 5800X in, we get the same DRAM light. So that can tell me one of two things. Either the processor's memory channels are dead because it warms up. It's not so dead that the processor doesn't heat up in the socket. Because I'm going to turn it on one more time just to show you what it still does. And it's not mounting pressure, because people said that can do it too. Don't even have a cooler installed right now. It cannot be mounting pressure. I checked for bent pins. There's no bent pins. There doesn't appear to be anything lodged in any of the pinholes of the motherboard. I took out my grandfather's badass little glasses that give you like 40 times vision. And I looked in there with my headlamp on, and I didn't see a single thing wrong. Nothing stuck in there. Nothing looks burnt. So, but it could be something in the traces or something. So it could be the motherboard. Like the memory channels that one needs might be broken. But yet, apparently, the 2200G uses less pins or has less memory channels or something like that. The other ones need a little more power and whatnot, so they've got extra pins, apparently. Because no matter what, we still get that DRAM light, as I will show you. Well, oops, I don't have it plugged in. Let's fix that problem. Boom. Now it's plugged in, watch. Boom. All it does is that stupid DRAM light. Now it doesn't have a cooler on, so I obviously don't want to leave it on for too long, but I just want to show you guys real quick. Turn it back off. We don't want to burn it out if it really isn't dead or anything, right? And I'm just going to disconnect the power and just let it sit there. I mean, I doubt there's anything short-circuiting or anything. Everything would have been fried by now anyway. And we got a post with that other one, so we know the motherboard is not completely dead. So I feel like at this point, I'm just going to go on Amazon and buy a processor and a fucking motherboard. That way, if it's the processor, oh well, we slap that in, don't have to do an extra work. It should just post right up, everything is good. But if it doesn't want to work with any 5000 series processors, I don't want to downgrade to a 3000. That's like, even at 1440p, that loss of single core is not going to do you any favors for 1% lows and stuff. Really don't want to downgrade. So I'll just have to send that motherboard back and just let them know, hey, it posts and works with 2000 series CPUs, and it might with 3000, but 5000s are a no-go, because I'd been able to test 2 different ones in there at that point, you know? So, again, still cannot post the thing. So, yeah, sometimes computer builds can be annoying, but this is the first time I've really had this much stuff not work for me. So, not the greatest example. Most of the time, the worst it is, oh, I didn't hook the dang jumpers up right, so the power button didn't work. Or, oh, I forgot to flip the power supply on. Oh, well, there we go, now it works. That's about most of the problems I've had on this channel. But, hey, shit can happen. I guess this is was my time to get owned. So, I guess I just have to wait a little bit more time, but that's why I'm not doing no more eBay, no more stuff. We're doing Amazon where I can go, oh, this shit's all fucked up. Well, back to Amazon it goes, and I don't have to fight with sellers or anything like that. Although eBay's pretty good about that. Even if the guy doesn't want to take it back, if he fights it, I can just literally show them a video of it not working. Change the one out live right on there. Be like, see, works here, not working anymore. No funny business, no editing, no cuts. Just bam, you know? But alrighty, well, I guess we'll just have to cut in another video or another slot here once I get all the new components. Well, alright, it is yet another day. I think it's about 3 or 4 days past? No, 2 days past when I had to stop because of the really random thing. I still can't believe it works with 2000 series processors, but not 5000. So that must mean the motherboard. I'm almost positive it's the motherboard's fault, but just in case it's my 5800X's fault, I went and bought a bundle off of Amazon. So we got ourselves a 5800 XT, and we also have this part of the bundle, a B550 Plus Wi-Fi 2. It's an Asus Tough Gaming. Now, yes, X570 is better, but I don't know about you, but I will pick a working B550 motherboard over a X570 motherboard that can only work with older 2000 series. Maybe 3000 too. I don't have any of those to test, but 5000, the one I wanted, which is the only one that matters to me, did not want to work. And I doubt you this will either. But since it's all together, and it would be super easy, and I know it's not going to break anything, I'm going to try installing this real quick just to see, so I can for sure say it's the motherboard and not the CPU. But I'm 99.9% positive it's the motherboard's fault. And I don't think the seller did it with any malice. They probably did exactly what I would do. Get the cheapest CPU they could, or one they had lying around, like a 3600 or a 2600, a 2200G, or maybe even like a 1600 or something like that. And it worked for them, so they said, okay, yeah, put it on eBay as it posts. That's all they said, and it comes with nothing. So, with that said, I'm gonna do that real quick off camera, because I don't see the point in, wasting your guys' time for like a third or fourth time trying to get this thing to post just to have it immediately give me a DRAM light. I'm not gonna hook the water cooler up. I'm just gonna undo the 5800X out of there. I'm not even put thermal compounder on this 5800XT or anything. I'm just gonna plop it in there, hit the power button real quick, see if the DRAM light moves past itself, and if it doesn't, shut it right off. And even if it does, shut it right off. Then I know I can just install the cooler and we'll be good to go. It was my other CPU all along. So I'm gonna do that real quick, and then we'll see. I'll probably come back to report if it didn't work real quick, and then get to disassembling and installing the new motherboard, which would be lame, but hey, at least we can fix it now. Well, I am extra glad I decided to just go ahead and throw that CPU in there, because it seems like this one works no problem whatsoever. So I guess I just have a dead 5800X, and that's why it was just killing PCI lanes and all sorts of stuff. So that's cool. I mean, I'm gonna keep it around just until I know for sure, but it sure seems like it's dead. Or, at the very least, this motherboard doesn't like it. So like I said, I'm not gonna completely throw it away until I know for sure, but sure is looking like that was the problem, and I'm glad I bought both. Now, obviously it's a combo, I can't just return the motherboard, but that's fine. Now we got an extra motherboard lying around if I ever wanna, put a build together. But either way, now I can get started on the Windows, and so I'm excited. I'm glad I didn't have to tear this bastard apart. So I think I'll just go ahead and, preemptively put the side panels and everything back on. I don't think we need to have it open anymore. I think we finally won. I hope. But until I get Windows installed and it doesn't have like blue screens and crashes and all that stuff, I ain't celebrating shit. I'm not even turning on XMP yet. I'm just gonna let the RAM be 2666 for now. Until we get everything installed, then I'll come back in and turn PBO on and all that stuff. Because this 360 all-in-one should be overkill for this thing. Unless it's just a really shitty all-in-one, but even if it's shitty, it should still be better than the singular one that it was working on in the Alienware. So alright, time for some Windows in. Well alright, we finally won, and it was not the motherboard's fault. So I guess it was the 5800X? I still can't believe that. I figured for sure it was something going on with the motherboard's pins. But so I'm glad I decided to kill two birds with one stone. Get a CPU and a motherboard, that way no matter which one it is, we're good. Unless it ended up being something else, but I couldn't think of anything else. If the 2200G worked, it was either pins being messed up, because the 5000 series, to my knowledge, are the only ones that require extra pins for memory and a little extra voltage, because I guess they use a little more TDP or need a little more voltage. One of the two. Either way, we're installing Windows. Unfortunately, my 16 gig drive, that's the USB 3.0 died, so I had to install it on a 2.0 drive that I really just got for doing BIOSes and whatnot. So, whatever, at least I had something. I figured you needed a 16 as well, but nope, apparently an 8 will do ya. So I'm gonna let this finish up, and then we can get some Steam and some games installed, and finally see what this thing can do, and get some freaking data, and hopefully it won't blue screen or do anything goofy. And I still have to go and turn on, like, unless resizable bar is on by default, that and CSM and all that stuff before anything lame happens, and it says you can't try Battlefield or something stupid like that. So, with that said, I'm gonna let it do its install thing, and we'll pop back in as soon as it's done. Well, alright. Finally got Windows installed, we got Steam installed, I got Wallpaper Engine installed, got the GPU drivers installed. I still have to go and make sure Windows is all up to date and all that shit, but I figured at least at this point we can finally get a little B-roll. Then I'll do all that boring stuff off camera, and then we'll play some games. I don't know what game. It'll probably be something just like Forza Horizon 6 or something like that, or Cyberpunk. One of the two. Probably Cyberpunk, because I've got the other thing set up for my racing wheel, and I really don't want to bring my racing wheel all the way over here and have to set up a bunch of stuff I'm never going to use on it, you know, just for one game. Seems kind of silly. But all right, let's get some of that sweet B-roll. Alright, got Cyberpunk downloaded. We're just gonna hop on in, see what it can do. Probably gonna use some FSR, and we might even include a little ray tracing, who knows. But either way, we're gonna go in, hop in, we'll get some screen recorded and some cam recorded, and then I'll try to remember to get some footage of the sound so you guys can hear how loud the thing gets during gameplays and stuff. So alrighty, let's waste no more time. Let's hop on into the game, do a quick benchmark with the settings I pick, get some gameplay screen, get some gameplay camera, and I think after that, since we've already probably made this video over an hour long, I think that'll probably be more than good. Alrighty, so we're just gonna go a little bit overboard and try 1440p. And we'll do this later. I don't want it to mess with it during the recording. I don't think AMD actually got affected as bad by that, but my NVIDIA machines would make it look like shit and make it all muted and terrible colors if I turn that on for the screen. Other than that, we're also going to turn ray tracing on like ultra, not path tracing or anything, but we're also going to try it with some balanced upscaling, FSR 4. Still not quite enough to keep it above 60 the whole time. I think it's just a little CPU bottlenecked, unfortunately. But I'll also try it without ray tracing a little bit when we do the camera part. So here's the benchmark. We averaged 81.15, 69.38 noise for our minimum, and we got 96.14 for max. And then there's our system specs and all that good stuff. And you can see the balanced FSR 4. And we have ray tracing on. The only thing we don't have is path tracing because it would probably run at like 4 FPS no matter what I did. But all right. Let's go hop on in and actually play the game now.
In the event you pass the range, those with respiratory issues are advised to remain indoors.
Vale. Valentino. ¿Qué puedo decir? La cárcel no tiene por qué ser algo malo.
¡Voy a hacer que vomites sangre!
¡Solo, Valentino!
¡Perfecto!
¡Punto para mí, perra!
¡Huevo, carajo!
¡No tengo munición! ¡Un segundo!
¡Justo en la pinche cabeza!
¡Carajo, carajo, carajo! ¡Qué pinche mierda!
¡Voy a hacer que vomites sangre!
¡La mejor parte del día!
¡Perfecto!
¡Órale, órale, órale!
¡Pinches hijoputa!
¡Son unos pinches cabrones, Valentinos! ¡Por guillotino!
You can be on the staff. You can be a brilliant strategist. But that's never been the case. I know you know. But you're still missing
No way. I'm a tech, not a miracle.
Now with 8 double cameras.
Just give me the cells. I won't make them myself.
Well, now let's get ourselves a little camera recorded gameplay, turn some HDR on and all that good stuff, and we found out we can't hit 60 everywhere. At least not we're recording. Maybe it was just the recording doing it?
Who's there?
Is it me?
Well, princess, how long I gotta wait till you make up your mind?
Hey, shut it. Don't rush genius. Bullshit. You blind?
Yeah. I want to keep having dead people disappear in your bed. Your bed obviously has a portal.
Don't waste your money on counseling.
Yo, is it true what they say? That you're a deserter? If I gotta be associated with you, I need to hear it straight. Cyber Psycho!
Yeah, when we get to the super populated zone, it's probably, you know what it more likely is? It's probably because I got the crowd density up too high. If I just dropped it from high to medium, I wonder if it would even out. Let's just do that live and see if I was right. Might not be. Might be more, need more than that. But let's see, where was it? Crowd density. See? Now I can't guarantee it'd stay at 60 everywhere like this, but we were just here and we dropped down at 59, 58, and now we're in the same area. and we drop down to what, 65, 64. So still probably have some areas you drop under 60, but I think the crowds was a lot of it. The ray tracing is the rest. But I mean, it is what it is. If you want some nice looking ray tracing, it's going to cost you. I just figured do a worst case scenario. Or what? Won't recover from that.
You ask me, your word's worth more than 80/80s.
Oh, you just say that because you ain't got none.
He ain't got no eddies, not no siree. He ain't got no eddies, so no, says me. Alright, I'll stop singing now. Oh, see? There's my, getting hit by a car. I usually get hit by a car almost every time I do a video.
Do I know you?
No, but you will.
Huh? The hell was that?
Yeah, but I know what you guys are thinking. What if you don't like ray tracing? Well, that's fine, let's get rid of that. And then I don't think we will need balanced anymore. Let's just do quality. Might not even need upscaling at all without the ray tracing. No, we didn't actually gain. We gained a decent amount. We're up to the 90s. So yeah, obviously it looks much nicer with the ray tracing, but you can get way more FPS without it.
What the?
Come on, look alive!
Worse than that.
Go. We'll just teabag them just a little bit. And I think after that, I think that's probably about good. Why don't we go wrap this video on up? Well, actually, wait. I just remembered, before I do that, we're going to get ourselves a little sound sample, how loud, or basically how not loud this thing is, actually. Alright, real quick. I muted the sound in the game, so we're going to go ahead and get a quick little test of how loud it is. So I'm just going to shut up and just move the camera around it.
Alright, I think that's probably good. Now, let's go wrap the video on up. Sounds like just in time. Sounds like my refrigerator just turned on. That thing's loud as all hell. Alright, I figured let's do idle sound test too. So I'm gonna shut up and just do the same thing. Alrighty, I think that is good. Now, let's go wrap the video on up.
Well, alright guys, that is a wrap for the video, finally, after many days of trying to make this silly thing work. Turns out, it was the 5800X all along, or at least probably. So, that Alienware is probably alright, so we could probably turn that into like a super cheap build. And then I still also have that new motherboard lying around too, so if it's not dead, I could always try putting it in there and see if it does, if it works, plays nice with that. If it doesn't work there too, then it almost certainly is dead and we can just put it up on the wall as a dead soldier. But it was probably on its last legs then, but that thing cooked itself during shader compilations and all that stuff with that small ass little 120. Now, a slightly better version of the same CPU just kind of chills now that it has an overkill 360mm radiator on it, but I figured, hell, if you're gonna have a big ass case like this, you might as well make use of the space. And it came with all these fans pre-installed. It was staying pretty chilly and it doesn't really get that loud. Now, if you shove a camera right up to it like I was, obviously you're gonna hear it a little bit, but when I moved it away, further away, you barely heard anything. If anything, when I go and try to turn it up a little so you can hear it better, you'll probably end up hearing my damn air purifier that's all the way across in the kitchen. I should have shut that off too, but I wasn't thinking. But that could be. But that's not the case doing it. And then it's whisper quiet. I can't hear it at all during idle unless I shove my head right up to the fans, and I have like insanely good hearing. So for what this case costed, it's pretty damn awesome. Obviously, I don't know how long the fans are gonna last, but at least unlike my Dark Flash case that costed about the same, for 89 bucks this time around, you actually get fans that push air. So that's awesome. The other ones did not really do that. They just looked really cool, and it had a lot of them. It had 2 fans in the back just like that too, but they barely moved anything. You could put a piece of paper on there and it barely did a thing. This thing, it'll blow it away pretty easily. But feels good to finally have that solved. And nope, the capture card is fine. I went and downloaded OBS, and once Windows got installed and the driver got installed, it started doing its RGB and everything was fine. So we should be back in business. But even if it does mess up and do goofy ass nonsense, I finally got another solution, well, probably to the problem, so I could be able to use either one. This little thing is a USB-C to HDMI, just regular. So that should let me use my other capture computer that only has USB-C attached to it to let me use everything. So there we go. Well, problem solved. We'll go and use it tomorrow, hopefully, and then everything should be good after that. And if it's not, well, we've got the other computer too, so we should just have a solution, and at least now we should be able to play games on it. It didn't crash or do anything goofy. Haven't had no blue screens, no app crashes. The weirdest thing it did to me was trying to download drivers. Like AMD just basically banned me from downloading drivers. Every time I try to download it, and it just tells me, nope, you can't. Download incomplete, check your internet connection, bro. And I'm like watching Steam downloading at like 100 megabytes a second, which I was gonna stop to go download the other thing, which I tried thinking, oh, maybe it just thinks we don't have any because Steam's using it all. Nope, pause Steam, still said the same thing. Decided, okay, well, it must be something wonky with this computer. Let's update its drivers for its everything. So I ran driver booster, got that everything up to date, and still no. Now, I could have used that to just get the drivers installed, which I did, but that doesn't install the, what do you call it, Adrenaline software, which I like to have just for like screen capture and stuff. So I had to go and try to download it on another computer. My main computer thinking, oh, it'll be easy. It's probably just one with this new computer I built being wonky. Nope, not at all. I can't download on any of my computers. So I went into like Tom's Hardware, and hopefully it doesn't have full of viruses, but I went and downloaded that and finally got them installed. And then now they just auto update, so I hopefully won't have to worry about that again. But anyway, that's pretty much that. So I hope you guys enjoyed the long process, but I think the ends justified the means. This thing is quite a nice computer, in my opinion. But in any case, that's all for the video. So I hope you guys enjoyed the video, because I sure as hell enjoyed making it for you. I still can't do a peace out properly with that finger doing that, so instead, left-handed peace out, and until the next video.